Hope you guys are all having a fantastic day. We have gigantic breaking news coming out of the Ripple lawsuit. Judge Torres denying the SEC's motion to strike a fair notice defense from Ripple. This is explained a little bit more so by Stuart Alderati. Today's order makes it clear there is a serious question whether the SEC ever provided Ripple with a fair notice that Ripple's distributions of XRP way back since 2013 would ever be prohibited under the securities law. Good to see the judge rejecting the SEC's attempt to prevent Ripple from pursuing its fair notice defense. It's even more imperative that the sun sets on the SEC's regulation by enforcement approach. Gigantic. Let me read that one more time. Today's order from Judge Torres makes it clear that there is a serious question as to whether the Securities and Exchange Commission ever provided Ripple with a fair notice that Ripple's distribution of XRP since 2013 would ever be prohibited under the securities law. You can look at the full document here. Shout out to John Deaton. Shout out to James Filan. Shout out to Jeremy, all the guys that are doing all of the work out there within this community and sharing their thoughts and sharing the court documentation as quickly as they have been doing so. And it's just amazing to have them in the community. Kind of piggyback on top of that, the new Ripple Creator Fund takes NFT projects to new heights. I don't want to get too deep into this. I know XRPL punks, kudos to those guys. Steven Sebring and Justin Bua are among others within that. We did see, I think it was like 3 or 4 million split between a handful of projects as well just recently. Partners include marketplaces such as Mintable, Mint NFT, NFT Pro, Eternal Labs, On XRP, and creative agencies like VSA who can help brands and businesses break into the NFT space. What I will say, and they kind of allude to it down into here as well, talking about carbon credits, talking about media and entertainment, talking about real estate. We know XLS 20D is coming very soon, and I wouldn't be surprised if it comes a lot sooner than most people are anticipating. And I'll be looking forward to that as well because it just adds another layer of functionality and utility within the XRP ledger. So kudos to all these guys. Kudos to Ripple for the Creator Fund. The HBAR Foundation, this was yesterday, launches a $100 million climate-focused impact fund, declaring Dovu. Now, Dovu also has their own asset as an inaugural grantee. So they've been given a grant from this climate-focused impact fund from the HBAR Foundation. I looked at the price of Dovu today, and I think at one point it was up 35%. Maybe it's more than that now. But I think that this is what we keep talking about. We keep talking about sustainability. We keep talking about sustainable initiatives in this space. If you're not paying attention to what is being spread about from the traditional financial system as far as green finance is concerned, and you're participating in cryptocurrency or digital assets, you are going to, I don't want to allude to this, but you're going to potentially miss the bus, or you might be on the wrong one. Because these green initiatives don't go away. And if you can't meet the standards from an ESG level, and in particular from a sustainability level as far as the green economy is concerned, it's going to be a problem in the future, especially if you're looking for enterprise-grade use cases within your project. So according to this announcement, and it was, again, down here, 2030. According to this announcement, the fund is designed to strengthen accountability and transparency in ecological markets with an inherent adherence to contributing towards the 2030 UN Sustainable Development Goals. So it is across the board, and I've said that multiple times. We hear about the green initiatives leading us to that 2030 time frame. Gigantic. So kudos to Dovu. Kudos to HBAR for launching this climate-focused impact fund because, if you're not a first mover into this, what does Ricky Bobby say? If you're not first, you're last. Interesting. I saw this as a job application today coming out of Signum Bank, blockchain engineer out of Zurich, Switzerland. Now the contact person is Floki, who's the chief recruiting officer apparently. But I did see in here, within the tasks, build products based on various well-established blockchain protocols such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and more. And the ISDA. The ISDA is the International Swaps and Derivatives Association, putting out an article yesterday talking about developments in crypto derivatives. I will link this for you guys. Now, this is more rhetoric that we keep seeing across the board here. Not even rhetoric, just initiatives from these traditional financial institutions. It's going to piss me off because I can't think of the one that just did it 2 or 3 weeks ago. I think it was a bank out of Korea, and it was a very, very large bank, essentially naming an entire entity within their company as being a digital, reframing it in the digital aspect. And it was certainly a larger bank. I forget the name of it, but this is another announcement here. State Bank of India, obviously the largest bank in India, plans to launch a revamped digital banking platform called Only Yono. The State Bank of India, India's largest bank, plans to introduce a separate digital entity. As part of this strategic approach, it is completely redesigning its banking app, Yono, in order to launch a digital bank named Only Yono. I wonder what the digital bank will be leading or gearing towards in the future. Curious if digital assets are involved at all. Now, almost a little bit of a shotgun approach for the remaining 2 things here. But I saw this, and this was just interesting. Just NFTs, obviously, but Warner Brothers creating 6 million DC Comics trading cards with redeemable NFTs. Hybrid card packs will be priced from $5 to $120, with buyers using an app called HRO to access their physical cards NFTs. And this was also crazy to me. So we know, obviously, that Uniswap, the V2, is very much so tied into Ethereum, etc. But Cello Foundation proposing to deploy Uniswap v3 on their native blockchain. Now, last but not least, I'm trying to keep this one a little bit shorter because the biggest news within this video is certainly the judge's motion to strike the SEC's kind of wanting to remove the fair notice defense aspect from Ripple, and Judge Torres denying that. Again, this is just gigantic to me. Did the SEC ever provide Ripple with fair notice that its distribution of XRP since 2013 would ever be prohibited under the securities law? Well, the judge kind of alludes to the thinking behind that today. Last but not least, though, this is just Bitcoin's price action here. Now, actually, I had a chance to speak with Blockchain Backer for about an hour prior to this, and we weren't going over charts or anything. We were just BSing, but I had certainly brought up these EMAs and what I'm looking at, and from my stance, I will stick to my stance. I think that, if you look at history here, if you have the 21 EMA cross below the 50 EMA on the weekly, it generally spells about a 50% correction. It generally spells about 90 days to capitulation once that cross occurs. Well, we can see where we're at right now, the yellow line below the blue line. We will see what happens, and you can look at kind of the massive wicks on the weekly kind of pushing us off, first the 21 EMA and then the 50 EMA. And, regardless of what happens, we're all going to be going through this market together, certainly. And like I've said before, I look at an opportunity in capitulation, if it does occur, as being exactly what I just said, an opportunity. And if you're not vested way more than you're willing to afford to lose within this space, you may be looking at something like that occurring as an opportunity as well. It is very difficult to try to buy when there is that much blood in the streets. Mentally, like just personally, mentally, but we have to kind of look at history, and if we look at history, these are massive opportunities. Again, I will present this look into Bitcoin tool for you guys because I think it's a really valuable tool if you're not used to charting or TA. I have never said that I am a TA guy, but I do try to look at very, very simple things. I try to look back into the past to see if anything will rhyme with what may be occurring in the future, and normally, these things do rhyme. They may not be exact, but they may rhyme. And this is just a great site. There's a lot of different charts that you can go onto here. I would certainly not recommend using one metric as being the justification for any moves that you make, but using a combination of different metrics is certainly important. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, gigantic shout out to James Filan. Gigantic shout out to Jeremy Hogan. Gigantic shout out to John Deaton. You guys are literally doing so much great work out there for this community. And Stuart Autorati, kind of phrases it perfectly here. I will leave you guys with this. Today's order by the judge makes it clear that there is a serious question whether the Securities and Exchange Commission ever provided Ripple with a fair notice that Ripple's distributions of XRP all the way back to 2013 would ever be prohibited under the securities law. And it's good to see the judge rejecting the SEC's attempt to prevent Ripple from pursuing its fair notice defense. It's more imperative than ever that the sun sets on the Securities and Exchange Commission's regulation by enforcement approach. I will talk to you guys when I talk to you. Later.